Shouldn't we tell Athena?
Couldn't we go to Athena with this? If you've changed your minds and you're both part of the chorus.
Athena would be sympathetic, but the die has been cast.
She won't go back on the edict, not without clear evidence.
Oh, now you want evidence.
She acted on the information she had. If we want to sway her, we need something better.
Could Athena be the killer?
What about Athena? She seemed awfully insistent on declaring me guilty, don't you think?
Athena? No, Athena follows the rules.
So we wouldn't suspect her then.
Well...
Athena has one goal, and one goal only. To protect the idols. And that included Calliope.
Well...
She'll eventually drive us all mad with her vigilance, but break her own rules? I don't see it.
Well, I don't want to say this, because A, I don't want Apollo to be a suspect. And that's, of course, me being partial, and I'm aware I'm being partial, and for the narrative, I'm going to be partial for right now. And B, I don't think Persephone did it. I think it'd be too obvious if Persephone did it, so I'm not going to say this. This feels pointless.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know the idols. Don't you have any ideas?
I told you I wouldn't be of much help, Grace.
Did you now? That's unsurprising. When are you ever of help to anyone but yourself?
Hey!
Says the woman who forced Grace to challenge her rather than answer a simple question.
Calliope died, Apollo. Calliope, who came with us all the way from the old world.
You think I don't know that? Are you forgetting what the Muses meant to me?
Stop fighting.
Stop it! Stop fighting! Is this what the idols are like? You just what? Live forever and never get over anything?
That's a good point.
Super. Becoming a god was such a gift, wow.
Oh, here we go.
Calliope, I'm listening now. Tell us what end you were doomed to.
Calliope, blinded by fire, one match did you
Trio.
strike that consumed you.
Ooh. Is this a tango? Who do I... Oh, do I have to choose?
How could you blame her? What could she have done to earn such a fate? You are blinded.
God of the sun hides from his own eyes. What would you know about fate?
You say that you knew her, she was family to us, yet you don't hesitate to accuse her. Oh, queen without a throne, go bitter with fury. Not everyone
overlooked something.
seeks to betray you.
Stop this.
There is something missing we're blinded to.
Yes, there's more to seek.
Apollo, your help is not needed here. Go ahead and abandon another muse.
How could you throw that gauntlet at me? Could your heart shrivel any further?
You abandoned
Oh, I
me
like
to
this.
a terrible fate.
You replay your injuries
It's
till
far
it's
too
too
late.
late.
You know how far I've been
I
before
am
I
trapped.
snapped.
This is not
not
about you.
Persephone.
Enough! This helps no one.
There he is, God of the sun.
Aren't you a queen with all that that means? Stop looking for a fight.
Apollo's looking hot with his glowy eyes.
These old wounds, they distract and blind you. You can't see yourselves.
He doesn't know what's important.
And you do?
Follow Apollo. Follow Apollo. Follow Apollo.
Follow him or stay.
Follow Apollo. Follow the abs. Follow the abs. But you're cool too, Persephone. You're cool too.
That was not my finest moment. Persephone will never let this go.
Before I continue, one thing I wanted to talk about during the scene where we were having our singing battle with Persephone the first time on stage with all of the rest of the crowd, I thought that the way that that song went based on my dialogue choices, for me was absolutely perfect. Because she started off trying to be aggressive, and I chose for the first two initial choices to be a little bit more clever. Like, all right, you want to come in, arms flailing. I'm going to be a little bit dodgy. I'm going to be a little bit more evasive and a little more cunning about how I'm handling you, which is why I was catering to the crowd for the first two. And then I shifted when she started really asserting her dominance towards me, I thought, okay, this is the point now where I change things up and start to really stand up for myself and try to go toe to toe to just show her that I'm tough too. I'm not just trying to be crafty and cunning. I also want my Grace to be tough as necessary and have the courage and the boldness to stand up against Persephone when I needed to. So I think the next two were the more aggressive choices. And then I was sort of following Persephone's lead. She pulled back and actually, got moved away from her aggression slightly and became more vulnerable. And so it naturally felt like, okay, now that she's pulling back, I'm going to go by her lead and not continue escalating, because I could have easily just took advantage of it and dominated, but instead I decided, you're pulling back, I'm going to pull back too, and I will go with the charming choice at the very end to close things out, to close the song out. And I thought that flow, that trajectory through the song was perfect. I'm sure a lot of players might be a little bit more consistent, choosing the same color each time. And for me, I just go with whatever feels right, wherever I feel like the song and the scene is taking me. And then just, chef's kiss, how it is. Also, I have to say, that was kind of hot watching Paul stand up to Persephone like that. Yeah, that was impressive.
You kind of went dark and stormy back there. It was impressive.
It's really hot.
I honestly thought I had left that behind me.
Left what? Signs of life? The world won't wither if you raise your voice, Apollo.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I just wish old habits didn't return so easily around her.
Well.
Family thing, huh?
That's why I've tried to avoid my fellow idols for so long. I don't like who I am when I'm with them.
I can fix you. I can take care of you. I can fix you. Noism with age. That's not the solution. I can relate.
I know what you mean. I'll be 14 around my parents forever.
Try living in their house for 1,000 years.
Ooh, no thanks.
1,000 years.
At least coming here was useful. You have a better idea of where to start looking, right?
Yeah, especially since you're coming with me. You're still helping me?
I thought you'd decide that getting me into the underworld was enough.
But you like
What?
me, though.
Bring you to Persephone and then shrug? Not my problem now?
You like me, don't you? You like me, don't you? I appreciate it. I wouldn't blame you. Isn't that your thing? No, I appreciate it.
What I meant to say is... thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry. I'm not used to asking people for help.
It's all right. I certainly know that tune.
You all know which one I was going to go after. I mean, this wasn't a surprise which person I was going to go after. Although the other romanceable characters are definitely enticing too. Don't get me wrong. Where do we look next?
Where do we look then?
I need to give it some thought. This won't be easy. If another idol is behind this, they know as well. They had a plan.
So you don't know where to look next?
I need time to sort it out. Just be patient, Grace.
I have to ask, is Athena really not an option? She wouldn't see what you see? At all?
I respect Athena. She has dragged us into the modern age, sometimes kicking and screaming. She's why we're alive. But if I said that her need to keep us safe didn't drive her to extremes, I'd be lying. You represent a risk, Grace. To her, that is more important than any notion of compassion or justice.
Maybe our culprit knows that.
Maybe whoever's behind this knows that and is counting on it.
How? No one could have known you would become the muse.
Maybe they just don't want to muse around. Though why is a good question.
Good thinking. Though I'm not sure who would benefit. Something to keep in mind.
Is there anything I can do in the meantime? Someplace I can look?
Don't you want to relax?
Ooh.
You haven't rested since this began.
You want to relax with me?
Who can relax? I've been sentenced to death, Apollo.
Oh, shush. Shush,
Fair
Grace.
point.
Shush.
Even so, go home, Grace. The next time you see me, I'll have a better notion of what to do.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Fine. But I'm holding you to that.
I'm holding you to that, baby. Holding you to that. Look at him watching us go. Link with his eyes lingering. Remained at Apollo's side. The deep. Ooh, I finished Act 1 already. Oh, nice. Wow, that went quick. This game's going quick. Okay. Oh, it's
Hey,
Freddy.
Freddy. Have you been waiting up this whole time?
Yeah? A goat man sends you off into the night. Your life is on the line. And I'm gonna, what, sleep? What if you were taken prisoner, kept in a cave by a cyclops, or I don't know, turned into a tree? I was
Oh.
worried sick.
All those references. Yes, references. I have to say that I feel super validated by my initial choice of the trait that I wanted to primarily manifest, which is the clever trait, because there's so many clever trait choices that I would have been super bummed if I was locked out of. I wasn't really bummed out of being locked out of any of the other trait choices so far. Like, more often than not, it's the clever choices that I would have been wanting to have available to me. So I'm so happy that I'm playing a clever Grace in this time frame. Sorry, Freddy, I've got my sights set. Since you weren't really you didn't seem to be wanting to just reciprocate things. We've been best friends for how long? If you didn't want to jump on that train, then I'm hopping to a new one, sweetheart. Sorry, the train has left the station. Turned into a tree.
Tree? That's random.
No, it's in
Yeah,
mythology. It's a
Apollo
thing.
kept chasing this woman named Daphne, and doesn't matter. Important
Apollo.
thing is,
There we go.
you're back.
Daphne
I
turned into a tree
Met
to
Apollo
escape Apollo.
tonight, actually.
Yeah.
What?
He was a
No
hunk.
way. Okay, all right. You have to tell me everything that happened. Huh. Persephone runs a club called the Underworld. That's a little on the nose.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't suggest saying that to her face.
And you ended up siding with Apollo? Lord of the Sun, god of prophecy? Do you trust him?
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, and he's also cute. I'll admit I'm partial. Very partial. More than partial. But hey, I'm aware of that I'm partial. These idols are all crazy. Not really. No, I think
I'm
so.
not sure. I think so. It doesn't seem like he's lying, but he's hard to read.
Famous last words.
Tell me about it.
So, what are your options? You need to go back to Apollo's place, right?
I could go back to the underworld. Make
Apollo's
sure
place.
Persephone isn't taking my decision personally.
No, Apollo's place.
Oh, and there's this. Pan left a card, says, "Come by Olympus." I doubt he means the mountain in Greece.
What could he want? The idols live there. I just spoke to him. What could he want?
I wonder what he wants.
Probably to cash in his precious favor.
Still not a fan?
You know how some people just set your teeth on edge? That's Pan. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it doesn't matter. I said I'd help, and that's what I'll do. You can count on me, Grace.
Thanks,
you.
Freddy.
Thanks, Freddy.
The muse? Oh, the embodiment of inspiration. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
kinda.
Kind of. Yeah. Talk to Pan. Talk to Persephone. Talk to Apollo. I want you to meet my boo, Freddy. I want you to meet my boo. We're not wasting any time. I should talk to Apollo, go see what Pan wants. Why don't I look at my journal first? So, did any of these change? And of course, Freddy was waiting up when I got back from the underworld. She apologized for how things went down with Pan during the song, but honestly, I get it now. My power draws the good and bad out of people, and I don't always get to choose which it will be. And I don't always, at any rate, it's good that I have Freddy at my side during all of this. Okay. Apparently, after years of arguing with the idols and making everyone angry, Calliope finally left Olympus, and that's when she became friends with Persephone, who gave her the apartment. However, Persephone says they haven't spoken in 2 years, so she doesn't know what Calliope has been doing lately either. Convenient. I ran into none other than Hermes at the underworld. I'm pretty sure they didn't follow me there. They were just vibing. You know, for an idol. They don't seem that bad. Would you believe Hermes has only been an idol for a year or so? They talked a lot about the old Hermes, so I guess they must have gone through something like me. They were there when the old Hermes died, and his eidolon passed on to them. How often does that happen, I wonder? They answered one question at least, about how they showed up at the apartment so quickly. Apparently, when an idol dies, Hermes has to be there. Whoever Hermes is at the time, I guess. They were kind of close-mouthed about it, but they just know. Strange story, but what else is new? I don't think there's anything new about Aphrodite. I'm sure we've got more things about Apollo. Wow, seeing Apollo and Persephone biting each other's head off was really eye-opening. Do all the idols hold grudges against each other like this? If so, it's no wonder one of them got murdered. We got what we went for at the underworld, but Apollo and Persephone just couldn't stand working together for more than 5 minutes. Finally, he had enough, and so did I. Thankfully, Apollo is still willing to help me out. So much for I'll just make everything worse, Grace. I'm not complaining. But he says he'll need to give our next step some thought. If there's an idol behind it all, then they're a tricky one. Which, you know, fantastic. Exactly what I needed. Okay. Persephone laughed when I asked if Athena might be a suspect. Like the suggestion was ridiculous. Athena's entire existence is based on protecting the idols, and apparently she'd never break her own rules. She sounds so fun. I'm sure we have a lot here. Apollo gave me the lowdown on Persephone. Apparently the whole story about how she was kidnapped by Hades, Lord of the Underworld, is more or less true. He made Persephone his bride against her will, and the other idols did squat to stop it. What the stories don't mention is how she later killed Hades and took his throne, only to have that throne taken away by the other idols as punishment for the murder. Persephone's pretty peed about it still, and honestly, who wouldn't be? So wait a minute, does that mean that when she killed Hades, did Hades' eidolon go somewhere else? It didn't seem like Hades' eidolon went into her. So where did Hades' eidolon end up in? Maybe Hades' eidolon ended up in some other human who then became the new Hades, and whoever that human is the killer. Maybe that's it. Because I'm like, okay, so if Hades died, who became the new Hades? Why is nobody asking that question, it seems? Who became the new Hades? Where did his eidolon go? Maybe that's the person who's the killer. Things broke down between Apollo and Persephone very quickly. Persephone just couldn't resist taking pot shots, and Apollo couldn't help but respond. It was pretty sad to watch. Eventually, Apollo lost his cool completely and stormed out, and I went with him. At least we got what we came for. I actually ran into Pan again at the underworld, just by coincidence, so he says, hanging around in the very places Tip eventually led me to. Granted, the underworld is his kind of place, but what are the odds? Neither Apollo nor Persephone seems to consider Pan much of a suspect. He's not a murderer, according to them, even though his sudden involvement is really suspicious. I met Eros, the god of sex, just hanging around in the underworld, looking like a Turkish wrestler taking a quick break from his BDSM dungeon. He was that's right, that's what his outfit is supposed to be like. He was nice enough, it kind of wrapped up in his own problems. Hardly seemed the killer type, but what do I know? Eros agreed to help me find Persephone. She either didn't know I was at the club or was avoiding me. That place is huge. After I convinced him, I could make sure Persephone didn't blame him for it. Not that I'm sure I can. Frankly, I don't think he was all that convinced either. He just found me amusing, I guess. Amusing. Oh boy. All right, we're caught up. Back to the show. We all know which one I was going to do. Talk to Apollo at his beachfront shack. Those abs, man.
Ah, Grace, you're back.
He's
That's
smiling.
good. I was just about to call you.
You wanted to call
He
me?
means he wants me to call you because Paul here still hasn't figured out how to use a phone.
That's not true. I know how, I just don't like them. They're confusing. Anyhow, I've been contemplating our list of suspects, and I think Pan is someone we need to consider.
Hold on, what's this about phones? I thought you discounted Pam. What's this about phones?
Wait. You don't like phones?
I just don't like talking to people I can't see.
No, it's the ringtones. They scare the crap out of him. I kid you not.
That's
I'm
so
not
adorable.
frightened. Only a child would be frightened. They're just very loud.
I love this. I love him so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we return to the subject of Pan?
You are
Please?
so adorbs. I thought you discounted Pam.
Why Pan? I thought you'd rejected him as a suspect.
Persephone did, but I've had time to think it over. Pan is a schemer, a traitor in favors. He always has been. His sudden appearance in all this cannot be coincidental.
You think he could have killed Calliope after all?
Perhaps. Or he knows who did and is trying to turn it to his benefit. He always knows more than he pretends.
You should know. Pan asked me to meet him at Olympus. I'm not sure why.
Wait, he wants to see you again? I don't like this.
I don't like it either. I think he's harmless. Me either. Should I not go?
Why? Is he that bad? Should I not go?
No. Perhaps it's best that you do, even if it's just to find out what he wants and why. Aphrodite is holding a party of sorts, one you should attend. She
I
is
can hang out
closest to
with-
Pan. Indeed, she knows almost all the idols. If anyone is up to something, she's bound to know.
I haven't gotten to hang out with her yet. I'd love to hang out with Aphrodite, get to know her more. She seems really cool too. I feel like I would vibe well with her. Why can't you talk to Aphrodite? I could just talk to Pam. What kind of party is this?
What do you mean by a party of sorts? I mean, I'm always down for a party, but
I'm down.
It's
You
more
wanna
of a
come with?
remembrance than a party, really. It's difficult to describe.
Like a funeral?
that's awfully vague, Apollo.
It'll be easier to see for yourself. It's nothing you can't handle.
Are you not coming too? Why can't you talk to Aphrodite?
You know Aphrodite better than I do. Can't you talk to her?
Well, talking to Aphrodite isn't something anyone does with much success these days.
But she's the
Well, if
goddess
that's
of
the
love.
case, what makes you think I'll get anywhere?
There's a standing invitation for the Muse to attend this party. Calliope never went, so Aphrodite will be thrilled to see you.
There we go.
Trust me. If I thought you couldn't get her to talk, I wouldn't suggest it.
I could just.
I
talk
still
to
have
Pam.
that invitation from Pan. Maybe it'd be easier if I just went to see him.
You could, but would you believe anything he had to say?
I might catch him in a lie, which is just as telling.
Well, whatever you do, be careful. I still think Aphrodite is our best bet.
I think he's right.
Okay, I'll go. Eventually.
I think he's right.
Perfect. I will see you there.
Ooh, he's gonna take me to the party.
Paul, you should see this. The names you wanted me to look up are getting weird results.
I don't doubt it. I was hoping you could...
Get over here!
No worries, Paul. I'll see you later.
Names. Let's go to Aphrodite's party. Thank you, Paul. He said he was gonna come with, so hopefully he's coming with. There he is. There's my boo. Your date has arrived.
Fancy party? Check. Bunch of strangers? Check. Grace totally not dressed for the occasion? Check. Now, if only I knew what I was supposed to be doing here.
That's right. I could
Grace,
dress
you
myself
made
to be
it.
more
I'm so
musy.
glad. I was beginning to wonder.
You didn't say this was a fancy party. I feel a little underdressed.
Grace, look at me. I didn't even button up my shirt.
Not
It's
complaining. Yeah, it's very fine. It's more than fine.
Why is everyone so quiet? You'd think someone died.
Well,
I-
someone did die.
I should have told you about this earlier. I've been putting it off.
It's a funeral for Calliope, probably. I mean, that's the obvious reason. You're cute when you worry.
You're cute when you're all angsty. You get this little crinkle in your forehead.
You might not think I'm so cute after I explain.
Try me.
You don't have any of Calliope's memories, right? No deja vu recollections that aren't your own?
That's
No.
interesting.
Should I
Should
have?
I?
Not right away. For a while, you won't remember anything. We call it the veil. In time, the veil will start to lift, slowly at first, but eventually you'll remember almost everything Calliope did.
That's interesting. Okay. What happens to me exactly?
There's gotta be a lot of memories. She was what, 1,000 years old?
More than that. Much more.
Then what happens to me in my piddly 20-something years? It can't be good.
Eventually, it's like a flood. It becomes difficult to separate what's you and what's them, and all who came before them.
Interesting. So then I just become them. Is that what the deal is? Oof. Heavy. Will I become Calliope? I mean, that makes sense if why Hermes ended up calling himself Hermes instead of who he was before. Will I become Calliope?
You're saying I won't be me. I won't be Grace. Will I start calling myself Calliope?
Maybe. Eventually, most of us do, but most of us were chosen and prepared.
And I didn't choose this.
I understand. Take some time to let it sink in. If you like, we can talk about it later.
How about we talk about it now? This is a big deal.
What does this have to do with the party?
Aphrodite hasn't been the same since we came to the New World. She has horrific memories of what she endured during the war. Passing on her Eidolon is a way to forget, for a while. That's what this party is for.
She's gonna kill her. Wait, she's gonna kill herself? Wait, Aphrodite's gonna die? That's pretty extreme. Why have a party for it? Aphrodite's gonna die?
When you say she's gonna pass on her Eidolon, you mean
She's going to die, yes, and pass her soul on to a chosen successor.
That's a little extreme, though.
in front of everyone?
We're here to help, Grace. To make it easier for Aphrodite to do what she feels she must.
But she doesn't have to.
We're here to say goodbye. At least for a while.
How many times has she done this? Aphrodite has done this before? Do you support this?
Do you support what Aphrodite is doing here?
It's not my choice to make, Grace.
Yeah, but you must have an opinion.
Yeah.
Eventually you will remember what we experienced during the war. And eventually you will remember that what Aphrodite experienced was far worse.
It's probably a love
If
issue.
this is the mercy she requires, I will not tell her she should not take it.
It's fair. It's fair. I don't know her. I don't know. I'm not in her shoes, so it's fair. She has done this before.
This isn't the first time Aphrodite's done this. She's held this kind of gathering before, right?
This is her fourth, I think, perhaps fifth.
So every time the veil, whatever you call it, when it starts to lift,
Aphrodite's memories return, and eventually it is too much.
That's really tragic.
We gather
Wow.
to pay our respects and to honor the past. Well, she still remembers it.
So she keeps running away from her memories. She keeps running away from them. That's a really cool, tragic backstory for whoever's romancing Aphrodite. I love they collect. I love all of the backstories of all of the romanceable characters. We haven't learned much from Pan because my dialogue choices haven't really been doing that, but Calliope didn't approve. Yeah.
Wait. Calliope refused to come to these parties. That's what you said.
That's because she doesn't approve of this.
She refused on principle. Everything Calliope did was on principle.
Yeah.
She believed
That
Aphrodite
makes no
was
sense.
indulging her sadness, wallowing in it.
Yeah.
She thought Aphrodite should try harder.
She should confront it.
Was a point of contention between them. Aphrodite will be grateful you're here. Trust me.
Here's the thing. Like, okay. I get it. I understand that it's ultimately not a choice for us to make for her, because she's her own person. She should be able to decide for herself whether she's going to go through this or not. However, just because I understand it and I get it doesn't mean I approve, because I feel like it's hard and it's very difficult without knowing what she went through. But I feel like you've done this 5 times or so. Eventually, you kind of have to stop running. Like, you kind of have to face your past at some point, like just trying to continually forget this veil thing, which is a really interesting piece of lore. And I also want to, like, hopefully we'll explore this part where does Grace start becoming Aphrodite, or not Aphrodite, when does she start becoming a Calliope, and where does Grace end and Calliope begins, and vice versa, and you know, this feeling of identity. That's really, really cool, like, plot point here. I don't like this idea at all. I'm not gonna stop her from doing it, but I'm gonna be very vocal of why I think this is not ultimately healthy for her in the long run, in the long game. For someone who's lived for thousands of years, it is certainly the long game.